Hello, my name is Aslak Gurholt. I work in a small graphic design studio called Yokoland. This is a cooking book, children's book that we wrote, a record in the form of a soda bottle with a download code, and a vinyl record with a real leaf inside. Many people ask about the name, where it comes from, and there is really no particular reason for the name. It's something we came up with when we were 17, a lucky coincidence. And in 2009 we were invited to participate in a design festival in Beijing, and it's really hard to exhibit graphic design because it's often seen as art. So in this case we made a replica of our studio in China. So on the left you have our studio, and on the right you have the replica from Beijing. We have the name Yokoland. We always thought that it would be nice to do something, launch the Yokoland not only as a design company but as a micronation. So we asked the Norwegian pavilion at the expo in Shanghai in 2010 if we could be able to build a miniature pavilion in between the Norwegian and the Swedish one. And of course we were not allowed. None of us had ever been to a World Expo before, so a gallery in Shanghai said we could do the pavilion there instead. And since we had not been there, we started doing research on the World Expo. And we had to design a nation from scratch, since we didn't have any of this from before. So I'm not a big fan of the cross in the Norwegian flag, but it seemed like a proper solution to mix the Swedish and the Norwegian one. And like any nation, we had to have these kind of objects that are important to a nation. What creates a nation? So we came up with a national bird, a Yokolandic waxwing, which was exhibited at our pavilion in Shanghai. From before we had done quite a lot of work with trees, so we thought that this could kind of become a national icon for us. So we came up with this idea that when you went into the gallery, you would have the pavilion in between a bunch of trees that you kind of walked through the forest. And then we had one problem, and that was that, like any other nation, they have a capital, they have geography, the tallest mountain, and we didn't have any of this, so we kind of had to make everything up. So these are images from the largest lake, and yeah. Another problem was that we didn't have much construction experience. I hope there are no architects here now. This was the only thing that we have ever built before. It was kind of a sculpture. You couldn't really walk inside. It was a small miniature factory with a 5-meter chimney, and it was 5 meters long. But you couldn't walk inside, so we had to get help from an architect, a friend of us, and he came up with the brilliant solution of combining the traditional Scandinavian wood pine with the bamboo, as you see on the top right corner. So one of the walls was then a wood pile, but in bamboo. And here you can see the exhibition, the pavilion inside the gallery, and then you have the iconic shape from the other side. You also have the flag there, together with the Chinese. It's not proportionally correct, but it was the best that they could make. And here you have pictures from the inside, the light going through the wood pile and also going through the windows at the top. On the display we had objects of cultural significance, all types of things, pictures of our most famous authors, and the World Expo is kind of a really strange mix of culture, art, and at the same time you're selling your product. So we kind of tried to mimic this kind of tradition. Here you have the poster for the event. Any World Expo would have a poster, so you have the little pavilion inside the forest. And also, it's also a kind of friendship thing at the World Expo, that you're kind of you're being nice with the hosting country. So in every possible solution we had the flag together with the Chinese. And then we had never been to the World Expo, but we thought that any country has a kind of souvenir. So the Danish people, they have their Little Mermaid, and the French has probably a miniature Eiffel Tower. So we made this little, I'm gonna, look, this little plastic tree. And we had flags, of course. And here you have our assistants, our Chinese assistants, putting it together. I don't know why the ducks are there. And then we also thought that it would be nice to have a kind of friendship thing, so we made a friendship pin, which we make for every occasion now if we have the time. At the last day, when we were there, we had the chance to go to the real expo. And because when I went there, all of a sudden I realized that every country had this kind of pin. I couldn't know from before. So I didn't really see anything else. I was just running around and getting all the pins, as many Chinese friendship pin as I could get. I don't know if you have the Slovak. You have, isn't that the Slovakian? Yeah.